The Galaxy S24 delivers some of the strongest value of Samsung's latest flagships, offering the same Galaxy AI features as its pricier counterparts. But the real benefit to upgrade is to reap the performance and battery life improvements delivered by the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 Silicon, assuming that you are able to buy a phone with that chip where you live. My Samsung Galaxy S24 review will look at the Galaxy AI features, of course, and whether they make the most affordable model in Samsung's flagship lineup worth a purchase or upgrade. But I'll also look at the other changes made to the Galaxy S24 that produce one of the most well-rounded Samsung phones in years. The Galaxy S24 is available for $799 with the base model featuring 128GB of storage. In the US, that's the same price Samsung charged last year for the Galaxy S23, something worth calling out in light of Samsung's $100 price hike for the Galaxy S24 Ultra. There is also a 256GB version of the Galaxy S24 available in the US and UK for $859 or £859. You will be able to find the Galaxy S24 at Samsung's website as well as the major retailers like Amazon and Best Buy. US phone carriers are now selling the Galaxy S24 too, with many offering Galaxy S24 deals that can help you lower the cost of the phone. You won't spot too many differences between the Galaxy S24 and Galaxy S23. It nudges aside in the lineup of best Samsung phones. The screen and back panel on the S24 are both flat and are joined by metal side rails, but the phone has adopted a unibody-like design that blends all the separate panels together brilliantly. Samsung continues to make the S24 out of aluminum. Titanium is reserved for the Galaxy S24 Ultra, as is the more durable Gorilla Armor Glass for the Ultra's display. Still, Galaxy S24 counts on Gorilla Glass Victus 2 to be tough enough, and it offers IP68 water resistance, so don't worry about dropping the phone in the drink. The biggest design change to the Galaxy S24 involves the bezels. They are smaller than before, which allows the new phone to offer a slightly bigger screen than the S23 without noticeably changing the dimensions of the phone. Even with 6.2-inch display, the Galaxy S24 remains as compact as its predecessor. I wish I could get excited about the Galaxy S24 color options, which strike me as a bit muted. Names like Onyx Black, Marble Grey, Cobalt Violet, and Amber Yellow make the colors sound a lot more dramatic than they actually look. I would suggest heading to Samsung's online store, where exclusive options in blue, orange, and green at least add some variety to your choice. I have mentioned the Galaxy S24's larger display, which offers a resolution of 2340 by 1080 resolution and a 120Hz refresh rate. But besides the modest increase in size from the 6.1-inch panel on the S23, the biggest addition is a boost to the screen's brightness. Like the rest of the new lineup, the Galaxy S24 promises a maximum brightness of 2600 nits. I have to say our lab testing didn't come close to the theoretical maximum, which was probably achieved under very controlled circumstances. Still, the 1416 nits it reaches using a light meter and with HDR enabled is nothing to sneeze at. It improves upon the Galaxy S23's 1340 nit reading and was in line with the iPhone 15's 1400 nit result. I found I had to keep the display brightness slider rather high to see the screen details under less favorable lighting conditions, but at least the S24 has the capability in its toolkit. A trailer for the Ministry of Our Gentlemanly Warfare on YouTube looked pretty dark in some scenes, though I suspect that's a Guy Ritchie problem and not a Samsung one. Streaming Under Pressure on Netflix produced bright, crisp images of the US women's soccer team in action. The Galaxy S24 recreates more colors than the iPhone 15's display does using both the sRGB and DCI-P3 spectrums. Apple's screen is a bit more accurate though, with a delta E rating of 0.18 to the S24's 0.22 with the display in its default vivid mode. Any discussion of the Galaxy S24 is going to revolve around the Galaxy AI features that Samsung has added to the phone in an attempt to make artificial intelligence a centerpiece on its mobile devices going forward. To that end, Galaxy S24 owners have reason to cheer. The same features available on the Galaxy S24 Ultra are also present on this device, which is now $500 cheaper than the Ultra. In other words, you don't have to pay up to access Galaxy AI. My colleague covers the what, how, and why of the Galaxy AI capabilities quite extensively in his Galaxy S24 Ultra review, so I'll not repeat his work here. I do want to share my key impressions of each of the features though, starting with the most intriguing Live Translate, which promises real-time translations for 13 different languages when you are on a phone call with someone speaking in a different tongue. It's impressive on paper, but a bit awkward in practice, as I found when I placed a phone call to my wife, who can speak German. Live Translate's translations weren't always accurate, and I am not sure how much of that can be chalked up to her accent. She is not a native German speaker, and how much is because Live Translate seems to falter with casual conversation tones. It is pretty clear that the delay between when someone speaks and when the translated speech appears on your phone screen and in your ear is something that takes getting used to. I am far more impressed with what Galaxy AI brings to the Notes app on the Galaxy S24. The AI features in Notes can auto-format the notes you quickly jot down into something that's not only easier to read but also pleasing to the eye. I was especially delighted to see that you get multiple options for notes formatting, so you can pick the one that looks the best to your eyes. I took some quick notes on all the things that I had to do for the coming week. It's quite an extensive list, and Note turned it into a bulleted list. The app's auto summary feature produces a very accurate summary that boiled down what I had to do on each given day. It's a toss-up on whether Notes or Circle to Search is the most polished Galaxy AI features. Circle to Search does exactly what its name implies. If you see something in any app that catches your fancy, just long press the home button at the bottom of your screen. A message will pop up telling you to circle or tap on what you want to search, and the results will appear in an overlay at the bottom of your screen, so you don't have to leave the app you are currently in. Circle to Search works in any app. I have used it just as easily in Gallery as I have in Chrome, and while it works best with photos, I have found that circling text produces results too. I used the latter method to circle Mean Girls on a movie theater marquee to look up information about the movie. For example, Circle to Search is currently geared a little too much to e-commerce for my taste. The first search results you get are usually invitations to buy what you have circled, but this is still a pretty powerful use of AI. Two other Galaxy AI features, Chat Assist and Samsung's Voice Recorder app, feel like works in progress. The Chat Assist feature also supports on-the-fly translation for those times when you need to text in another language. A more shrug-worthy feature has the AI suggesting ways to rephrase the tone of your text for your different audiences. Texts for your friends as opposed to a text you send to your boss. Maybe I don't text enough or my replies tend toward the monosyllabic, but I have never really struggled to find the right wording for a text message. That part of Chat Assist feels like a solution in need of a problem. The voice recorder capabilities use AI to recognize when different people are speaking, transcribe the recordings into text, and even provide a summary of that recording. Transcripts and speaker recognition can be hit or miss. My wife and I recorded a dramatic reading of the courtroom scene in A Few Good Men, and the AI often ran our different lines together. Transcripts have more than a few errors, with the most common mistakes being new sentences starting anytime a speaker pauses. In terms of camera hardware, Samsung hasn't really touched a thing for this Galaxy S24 update. The 50 megapixel main camera, 12 megapixel ultra wide shooter, and 10 megapixel telephoto lens with 3x optical zoom are exactly what you would find on the Galaxy S23. Even aperture and sensor sizes remain the same. In one sense, that shouldn't matter as the Galaxy S23 was already one of the best camera phones, so you'd imagine that the Galaxy S24 should be just fine on the camera front. And that's before we get to some of the AI enhanced features Samsung has added to the S24 lineup. The trouble is Samsung's competitors have not stood still since last year. Now you can guys see some photo sample of Galaxy S24 and some comparison between S23 and S24 and iPhone 15. Samsung's Galaxy AI capabilities are also on display when it comes to editing the photos captured by the Galaxy S24. Editing tools essentially take two forms: edit suggestions and generative edits. Edit suggestions take a little bit of digging to find. In the Gallery app, select the photo you want to tweak or tap the details icon. If Galaxy AI detects that there are improvements to be made, it will list proposed edits that you tap to accept. Common suggestions include removing shadows and adding a background blur. I had mixed results with suggested edits. An image of the bowls in the window of a store had some visible reflections that I wanted to remove, and the Galaxy AI tool did detect them. I just don't think it did a good job of removing them entirely, as I still see some glare in the photo. A more promising result was when I had edit suggestions to remaster a nighttime photo of me that looked pretty dark. The suggested edits tool brightened the background, which made the entire picture look more visible even if the lighting seems a bit unnatural to my eye. Generative edits will be familiar to anyone who is used the Magic Editor feature on the Pixel 8. Here you can move around and resize objects, and generative AI is put to work fixing the background so that everything looks natural in the end. Photos altered with generative AI receive a watermark plus a designation in the new images metadata. I had my best luck with generative edits when I used the feature to remove objects. Some plant leaves obscured the front of a pig statue that I photographed, so I erased them completely to the point where you wouldn't know they had ever been there in the edited version. I have saved the best Galaxy AI image editing tool for last, the ability to turn videos you have shot with the Galaxy S24 into slow motion videos. This means you don't have to fiddle around with slow motion settings when capturing video, just get your footage and adjust things after fact. Converting a video to slow motion couldn't be easier. You preview the effect by pressing and holding on a video and the gallery app to see what it looked like. If you like what you see, tap the edit icon followed by an adjust speed option. You even have tools to set beginning and end points for when the slow motion effects kicks in, which I used for the above video of my daughter practicing her jetters. After using the same system on chip for every Galaxy S23 model, Samsung has gone back to splitting up which phone gets which silicon based on region with the Galaxy S24. Phones sold in North America run on the same Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 chipset found in all Galaxy S24 Ultra models. Elsewhere, Samsung uses the Exynos 2400 in the Galaxy S24. I can't speak to the performance of the Exynos 2400 as my test unit is a Snapdragon powered model. Traditionally, Exynos powered Galaxy phones have run a step or two behind their Snapdragon-based counterparts, but we won't know if that's the case with the Galaxy S24 until my UK-based colleagues get their hands on one of these phones. The good news is that the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 silicon powering North American Galaxy S24 models produces the best performance we have ever seen from Samsung's entry-level flagship. While the Galaxy S24 Ultra outperforms the S24, the Ultra ships with more RAM than the 8GB of memory included with the S24. This model is still outmuscles other phones in key benchmarks including the iPhone 15 in some cases. On the Geekbench 6 test, which measures general performance, the Galaxy S24 posted a single and multi-core scores of 2235 and 6922 respectively. Both those numbers topped the OnePlus 12, which runs on the same Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 chipset. More significantly, the Galaxy S24 finished well ahead of the iPhone 15's 6179 result on the multi-core test. The iPhone 15 Pro, with its more powerful A17 Pro silicon, finished ahead of the Galaxy S24 with respective scores of 2890 and 7194, but that multi-core result is very close, perhaps too close for Apple's comfort. A trend that started with last year's Galaxy S23 continues with the S24 as Samsung's latest flagship sets the pace of graphics performance. In 3D Mark's Wildlife Unlimited benchmark, the Galaxy S24 reached 120.4 frames per second, topping both the iPhone 15 and iPhone 15 Pro. Only in our real-world test does the iPhone continues to soundly thump Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 phones like the Galaxy S24. We use Adobe Premiere Rush to transcode video, timing the results. It takes the Galaxy S24 41 seconds to convert a 4K clip to 1080p, a task that iPhone 15 finishes in a little less than 25 seconds. We have been comparing Samsung and Apple flagships for a long time, and it isn't often that we can say Samsung's phone keep pace with the iPhone. In the case of the Galaxy S24, though, the statement is true with the Galaxy S24 handling graphics much better than Apple's top handsets. to test numbers translate to everyday use, as jumping between different apps is a breeze on the Galaxy S24. Gaming sessions with PUBG Mobile produce smooth graphics even in the midst of frantic firefights, with no dropped frames to slow down the action. If the Galaxy S24 phone had performed just a shade or two better against the iPhone 15, I would have declared this model as the entry-level flagship phone to get. As it stands, this is still one of the best base model Galaxy S phones I have ever used, delivering a lot of value for $800. While the AI features are welcome additions, they are only part of what makes the Galaxy S24 so impressive. It's the bigger, brighter screen, longer lasting battery, and stellar performance that make the phone device well worth getting, with Galaxy AI a nice add-on. Because the cameras haven't changed that much, I don't think anyone with last year's Galaxy flagship needs to concern themselves with upgrading. And perhaps even Galaxy S22 users can get one more year out of their device. Anyone with an older Galaxy flagship should run not walk to their nearest retailer to grab this new model. Perhaps the most impressive thing about the Galaxy S24 is the serious lack of FOMO you'll have if you opt for this phone over one of the more expensive models. Yes, the Galaxy S24 Ultra has the more impressive camera setup, but with the same Galaxy AI features and battery and performance improvements of its own, the Galaxy S24 is a worthwhile flagship in its own right. Thanks for watching, see you in the next one.